Hello, Steemians. Hello, YouTube. Hello, DTube. Hello, all of you. cryptogee here, coming at you with another Pixlr video tutorial. If you are a Steemian, if you've signed up to steemit.com, you will know that I'm giving away some free cryptocurrency, 10 Steam dollars, to the winner of my latest photomash challenge. Animal head. And, you know, as you can see here, I've just sort of done a silly little picture with a guy with a cow's head smoking a cigarette or holding a cigarette and contemplating life. So yeah, I wanted to do that because these competitions, I want to be open to everyone on Steemit. And so I just wanted to make sure if you didn't know how to use photo editing software, then you should follow this tutorial. After following this tutorial, you'll be able to. So first of all, go to pixlr.com. You can't see my address bar, but it's very simple. Just P for Papa, IXLR.com/editor. Or just click on the editor when you get there and you will be brought to this page. Obviously, you'll have to get your images first and save them to your computer. And then when you have, you'll just simply open image, which is what I'm about to do here. So we're going to end up with this here. I'm just going to close this down and just show you how I built it up. So, okay, so we're going to open image. And we're going to open this cow here. There we go. So there's my cow image. And that's basically what, that's the head that I'm going to use. So the first thing I did was I went to my lasso, go to contiguous, polygonal, I can't say that word today, but this one anyway. Polyagonal, and just cut out around the head. So we just sort of go like this, like this. Okay, so you get the idea. We're going to just go around here. I'm just trying to think if there's anything I need to tell you before I sort of pause this video and bring you back. Just show you the finished article. But no, there isn't really. We're going to go around this head and cut out. Okay, so I'm going to bring you back in a second once I have done that. Okay, so this is the finished product. Just so that you know, in fact, I'll put a link to kind of cutting and some good cutting techniques on how to get a really nice cutout like this. And it's basically a couple of little techniques you can use. But I won't go into those now, just simply because I want to assume that most of you know how to cut out something from a picture. Okay, so now we've got our head, and that's great. So the next thing we're going to do is we're going to open up our image that we're going to use, the model image. So we're going to open image here. We're going to go to, here he is, brooding male model. And we're going to, in this image, I believe, because this one should be smaller, let me just double check. We're going to open image as a layer. So I'm going to go back to my cow head there, because obviously I've saved that. And there she is. So I'm just going to shut down this main one here so it doesn't distract us. Right, and I'm going to go to my move tool. And I'm going to move it to roughly over the face. Let's just get this a bit more central. Move that roughly over the face. Okay. All right, now we're going to go to our layer settings here, and we're just going to turn down the opacity. There we go, because he's just slightly at an angle. So what I'm going to do is now go to Edit, Free Transform. I'm going to start off by just coming up here onto the left side till I've got this little semicircle, and I'm just going to rotate it so that his head, her head rather, cow's a female of course. I don't know, it's a male one, hasn't it? It's got bull horns. I don't know. I don't know too much about cows, apart from what they taste like. Okay. So, yeah, we're going to get that about there. And now we're going to make it a little bit bigger. I'm going to shift, hold down shift, come to the corner here and left click and drag. And I'm going to get it to, yeah, roughly about there. Can always adjust again. So yeah, there we go. Yeah, we're looking at something like so. Okay, that looks good. So I'm gonna say yes to that, to those changes, and I'm gonna turn the opacity back up again. There we go. And now I'm gonna do one more little adjust, because now I want to get the actual, I've got the size, free transform now, I want to get the position, and that's not quite right. I want to get it sort of just slightly there. Okay, I think that's good now. I think that's good. Okie dokie, I'm going to say yes. Now I'm going to use the free distort tool. So I'm just going to make this bigger so I can see the whole image. I'm going to use the free distort tool. So I'm going to say edit, free distort. And we're just going to use that to just pull the face so that it kind of, almost like we've got a mask kind of thing, and we're just stretching it to, oops, no, cancel that, because I didn't mean to click outside of the box there. I meant to click on this little blue box here in the corner. That's it. It's just little subtle adjustments here. You know, obviously this isn't a true 3D image, so we're never going to wrap it perfectly. Let's go to the side there. Okay. Alright, so I'm going to bring you back when I finish doing this, because as you can see here, it takes a little bit of adjustment. I don't want to rush this bit because the effect won't look good if I do. Okay, see you in a second. Okay, welcome back, Steemians and YouTubers, and you can just see here I've just been doing lots of very little adjustments, very slight adjustments, and what I'm trying to do is basically stretch the cow's face over the man's face behind. And oops, sorry, cancel that. And as you can see, it's not perfect, but we're going to do some other little jiggery pokery. I'm just going to slide this one bit out. That's it. I'm going to slide this bit out and stop there. Okay, and now I am going to say yes. Click outside the box and say yes. And I am pretty happy with that. I might just move the whole thing to the left slightly. Oops. Okay, so I'm pretty happy with that. So now we're going to bring the hair over the top. So we're going to duplicate this layer. We're going to actually duplicate it a couple of times because we need a couple of spares. So I'm going to duplicate this layer. I'm going to take the layer 0 above layer 1. We can call that our mask. Or we can call this our hair layer, just so that you can see what's going on. And I'm going to add a layer mask to that by coming down to the bottom here and clicking left click. There we go. And we've got a layer mask. And so now we're going to bring back parts of that layer that I've just masked off with a brush. I'm going to zoom in slightly here. Oops. I'm going to zoom in and come up here to the right and just, there we go. So I can see his hairline. And now let's have a look at the size of our brush. I'm going to make this a little bit bigger. And I'm going to go to 100. What's that like? Yeah, that's cool. Okay, and away we go. So now, as you can see here, I'm just bringing back bits of his hair because I know that, in fact, what I can do is turn off the cow layer, and while still making sure I'm still up here on the mask layer, and you won't see the effect yet because, of course, this is the same picture, but I'm just going to draw back his hair and get the curls of his hair back. Doesn't matter if I get a bit of skin behind it because of course the cow has got a very similar skin tone. So here we go, and these are sort of things you need to think about as you're choosing the image. You know, I chose a couple of images before I settled on this one, and the criteria for that was the subject had to be, first of all, the cow. You know, I wanted a cow with horns. I thought that'd be quite funny, and I wanted that cow to be looking straight onto the camera, and so that meant, of course, my model had to also be looking straight onto the camera. I'm just going to get a bigger brush here, so I'm going to sweep across this area. There we go. I think we're going to have some around here where the horns are. I'll bring those back in a second so I can, in fact, I'm going to rename the cow layer, just so that if you're following along you can understand what's going on. Okay, so I'm just going to bring back the cow layer now. Oops, press that twice. There we go. And you can see now I'm starting to bring the hair back over the cow, so it kind of looks a little bit more natural if you can really. Oh, there we go. That's a mistake. So let's undo that. I'm going to go back there. Undo. There we go, because I was on the wrong layer there. I was wondering why it was just giving me a black smudge. It's because I was on the wrong layer. So it's just something to keep an eye on as you're messing around with masks. So if this is the first time you have done Pixlr, I've done a lot of work with masks. A mask will just take off a layer, and then you use the brush and the eraser tools here to bring back or take off some of the layer. And so this is the way we can make it look like there are bits of, you know, he's got curls of hair coming over his forehead. Okay, and you know, this is a tutorial, so I'm not quite taking as much time as I did for the first time, but you know, you get the idea basically. All right, let's put a bit over his ears there, because I think that's quite cute when you get a bit over his ears. Okay, so let's zoom out and have a look at that. Oops, wrong way. There we go. So you can see now we're beginning to build up the picture. However, we haven't finished yet. Right, now we want to use the pinch and bloats, because we can still see his ear there, which is no good, his human ear, and we can still see some of his cheekbone here. So what we're going to do is come over to the pinch and bloat tools. There's bloat there and pinch. We're going to choose pinch. I'm going to keep it at the 150 size, and we're just going to go, we want to pinch out this bit to about where the crosshair is. So I'm just going to click there a couple of times, and that should pinch out. Ah, I'm on the wrong layer. There we go. So in fact, let's get rid of those. I'm going to just undo, go back to my brush tool. That's why history is so handy, you know. I mean, obviously we've got various undos we can do here, but it's very handy just to have history and jump back. So now make sure you're on the cow layer before you go to that pinch tool. And now when I click, you should see some movements. Yeah, there we go. So we're now just beginning to drag out the side of the face to those cheekbones. Okay. Okay, and again, I'm just going to bring you back in a sec. Okay, hi there, Steemians, and as you can see, I'm just finishing off here. I haven't really done that much. It's just a bit, you've just got to play around with what looks natural. You know, you might find I didn't do nearly as much as I've done now. But as you can see here, I've kind of used it. Now with this side, I'm not actually going to do it too much. I used something else to get rid of the ear because I felt stretching over like that, because of the way he's turned and the perspective, it looks a bit weird doing that. So I'm just going to undo that last pinch. So we didn't want to do that, and I'll show you what I did with that. So I'm going to go here, and I'm going to go to eraser, and I'm going to zoom in. Always go the wrong way first. Let's come over here to move it to the ear, up a bit. Choose a larger brush. Is that large enough? Yep, 100. And I'm simply going to delete his ear. But of course, his ear's not deleting. What's going on? Well, that's because we've got another layer underneath. And that layer is this one. So if we call this one model layer, yeah, this is the model layer. So that's our original one. And now this one underneath, I'm going to call this fill. Yeah, because you'll see now, because I'm going to stay on this layer here after I've renamed it. I'm going to come over to here to the move tool, and I'm going to move it to the right. There we go, you see. So it's a bit of a cheat, and look, there's his shoulder line there. So it's a little bit of a cheat, you see. Could even go up a bit more. Oh, I haven't deleted all of the ear there, so I'm going to go back and delete some of the ear. Okay, I'm going to go back onto our model layer. Make sure I'm on eraser, and I'm just going to take away this last bit of ear just here. Oops. There we go. Okay, right. Zoom out of that, and there we go. And so now, as you can see, you can't really see that there was meant to be a human ear there. And there, I would probably, you know, mess about with that a bit more. Let's go back to our cow layer, and I would try and maybe smoothen out some of the some of my bloat work. Pinch and bloat work. Sorry, some of my pinch work with the bloat tool, and try and smooth that out, and maybe even shave off and actually get rid of some of that. But that I will leave up to you. For this now, this is good enough for our purposes. So now we're going to go on to the next thing we need to do, which is to desaturate the cow, because of course the cow photograph was in black and white, our model photograph was in color, and we just simply come up to adjustments. We're going to go brightness and contrast, Sorry, we're not going to go brightness and contrast. We're going to go hue and saturation because that's what we want. It's hue and saturation, and we're going to take down the saturation and whack it right down. As you can see there behind, the cow is now black and white because we've desaturated all of the colors. Okay, I'm going to take the lightness down a tad to about there, -4. Okie dokie. Then we can go to the curves, and as we can see, the original model photograph, the low lights, the shadows are quite low, so we're going to bring those down here. I'm just going to up that slightly, and then we're going to just up around the highlights, and the mid-tones we want to bring down a little bit more as well. Something akin to that. Somewhere around there. I mean, you can play around with this, but I'm just showing you that that's how you can get your light. And, you know, you would probably take more time and do things like get rid of that and try and, you know, have a look. And now you can see that's not a bad match straight away. That's not a bad match. If you wanted to go even further, we can go to the dodge and burn tools here. And to dodge simply means to, let me get it closer so that we can see what we're doing. So to dodge simply means to brighten up, and to burn means to darken. Sorry, the other way around. To burn means to lighten up, and it's a very subtle effect here. Make sure we're on the cow, which we are. And so, yeah, there we go. So as you can see, I'm burning. I'm actually darkening, sorry. To burn is to darken. I always forget that. And to dodge is to lighten. So if you can see there, and we go even closer, you see this reflection on the cow's nose there. So we might want to say, okay, well, what does it look like on the left side of the face? So, oh no, it's starting to go into shadow on his nose. So actually, we would maybe bring some shadow in here. So I would start burning away around here. And then you can see here, look, that bit of light. Now I'm just taking off that reflection. Yeah. So, and let's do this bit around here as well, because otherwise that'll look odd. Okay. Okay, so I'm not going to get into that now because, as you can see, that's very precision finishing, and you know you can spend a lot of time on that. And indeed, you should for the photomash competition, because I'm giving away 10 Steam dollars. Don't know, I haven't looked at the price at the moment. It's about what, $4 or $5. That's 40-50 US dollars that I'm giving away just for doing something like this. So yeah, take your time over it, make it nice, and who knows, you might win the prize. And if the quality is really big, if the quality is really good, I should say, I'm going to have, you know, I'll probably do 2 or maybe even 3 prizes, who knows. But yeah, make me laugh, do something nice like this, and get on with it. So yeah, I hope that's helped you with this tutorial. I know a couple of you asked me how I did it, so I hope this has shown you how I did it. I will leave a link to some of my cutting out tools and lasso tutorials, I should say, and cutting out tutorials, because I didn't really touch upon how to get a really nice cutout like this. And I do want to make sure that I've given you all the tools. Okay, well, I think this has gone on long enough now. Oh, totally forgot one more thing. So hopefully you didn't just log off, because of course I did the hairline. Silly me. Let's go back to the hair layer. We shouldn't have called this hair layer. We should have called this hair and thumb layer, because of course I was just looking at it thinking, what's different? And I haven't put the thumb in. So here we go. So now let's draw his thumb back in. And now there we go. That's now starting to look like his thumb is actually on his on the cow's snout, and you know his chin is balancing in his hands. I mean, you know, we'll do this bit quickly because I was just about to finish the tutorial, but you know, obviously I've got to show you how to do it, and then you guys can be a bit more accurate. So yeah, this helps. You know, when you're choosing your image, you know, this was part of the deciding factor as well, was the fact that he had his fingers like this, because that helps make it look a bit more realistic, doesn't it? If he's actually holding his cow's head. Let me just get rid of the cow layer just to see what his own fingers look like. Ah, yeah, you see, look, that was right in front of his face there. Okay, so it's there. There we go. Let's draw back in that. It kind of looks like he's almost picking his nose. Can't remember if I drew this finger in last time. I don't think I did. It might not look very natural. Let's have a look. Let's have a look, shall we? Oh, right, yeah, you see it sort of goes off. Yeah, it could work. It could work. Let me just make sure I know, rub out his bit of cheek there. Make sure I haven't got any of his cheek, because that's not what I'm looking for. There we go. Let's make sure all of the thumb... Oh, that's not the right tool, brush tool. Okay, so I really hope you didn't log off when I started saying, oh, I'll see you later. Might edit that, make sure that I don't lose half the audience, because this is important, this bit. Right, let's bring back the cow. Ping. There we go. Yeah, it's not too bad. What I'd probably do, actually, that kind of looks weird on that finger. So what I would do is just rub that out, simply rub that out, because then it looks like that finger is tucked. So if we rub that out, bring back his snout. There we go. So now it kind of looks like this finger here is kind of tucked under his chin, which is, you know, that's not an unnatural thing to do if your hand was in that pose. And, you know, I might take a little bit of that. There seems to be a bit too much palm there. So I'll take a bit of that away. But, you know, there you go. That's basically the effect. And, you know, apart from the cutting out, that's going to be the one that takes you the most time, and that's what you should take the most time out of, because obviously, as you can see, the better the cutout, the more you're going to be able to blend this in. Use the dodge and burn tools. Like there, I would start taking a lot more light there. I might even create something like this. Use the lasso, go on to freehand, draw just around here, draw this triangle around here, roughly. There we go. And then maybe even try, I'm not sure if this would work, but let's have a look. Go to exposure, and bring it down a little bit. Just slightly, or it starts to look odd. There we go. Let's see how much I can get away with there before it starts to look odd. 16, 15, 14 maybe. I reckon that'll do. Then Control D to deselect. And then there you go, you see. So now we've made this side of the face darker and, you know, trying to match up his hands there. So like I said, I could spend, and I probably will actually after, because it's the kind of thing I like just doing for a laugh after I finish this tutorial. But yeah, that's basically it. And yeah, get photo mashing and enjoy my competition. Okay, thanks, Steemian. Bye-bye.